He opened a cream gold embossed invitation and smiled like a man signing verdicts. 2 weeks later, he walked into the cathedral with a woman in midnight blue. 5 black suits turned, a card slid, a thin smile gleamed. She squeezed his fingers and whispered, "Run and they bleed. Stay and they fall." Some decisions have consequences you would never expect. The invitation arrives on expensive paper, cream-colored, gold embossed. Marcus Romano holds it between fingers that have signed death warrants. The church address is embossed in elegant script. St. Catherine's Cathedral. 2 weeks from today. His ex-fiancée Charlotte Mitchell is marrying Senator Bradley Pierce. The invitation feels like a slap wrapped in silk. Marcus sets the paper down on his mahogany desk. The office overlooks downtown Chicago from the 40th floor. Glass and steel stretch toward the horizon, but his eyes focus on the invitation. 3 years since Charlotte walked away. 3 years since she chose political ambition over dangerous love. Now she wants him to witness her victory. Vincent Torres, his lieutenant, stands in the doorway. Vincent has been with the Romano family for 15 years. He reads Marcus like a prayer book. "You planning to go, boss?" "Wouldn't miss it." Marcus's voice carries no emotion. That's how he controls empires. Show nothing. Feel everything. Vincent shifts his weight. "You want me to arrange an escort? Someone classy?" Marcus shakes his head. "The usual arrangements won't work." Charlotte knows his type. Sophisticated, expensive, predictable. She'll expect him to arrive with some model or socialite. Someone safe. Someone who fits. "I'll handle it myself." That evening, Marcus drives through the city alone. His Bentley purrs through streets that belong to him. 3 generations of Romanos have built this kingdom. Legitimate businesses on the surface. Darker enterprises underneath. Charlotte used to find the duality exciting, until she realized it came with a price. He stops at a red light downtown. The theater district glows with neon and possibility. That's when he sees her, sitting on concrete steps outside the majestic theater. Mid-20s. Brown hair falls past her shoulders in waves that would be beautiful if they were clean. She wears a navy dress that might have been elegant once. Her posture is straight, despite her circumstances. Most homeless people curl inward. She sits like she's holding court. The light turns green. Marcus doesn't move. Cars honk behind him. He pulls over and steps out. She looks up as his shadow falls across her. Her eyes are green, not the soft green of spring grass, the hard green of winter ocean. They assess him without begging. "You lost?" Her voice has an accent he can't place. Educated, refined, wrong for her circumstances. "You hungry?" She tilts her head. "Depends what you're offering." Marcus likes that she doesn't grovel. "Dinner. A proposition, nothing illegal." She stands. She's taller than he expected. "I'm Elena." "Marcus." "Well, Marcus, you're either crazy or dangerous. Possibly both." She brushes dust from her dress. "Lucky for you, I find both interesting." They go to Constantine's. Marcus owns the restaurant, though few people know it. Elena doesn't gawk at the crystal chandeliers or leather banquettes. She orders wine like she understands the vintage. Her table manners are flawless. She eats slowly, deliberately, like someone who hasn't forgotten how to dine, only forgotten when she last had the chance. "What's the proposition?" She cuts her steak with surgical precision. "I need a date to a wedding." "Yours?" "My ex-fiancée's." Elena sets down her knife. "Revenge or closure?" The question surprises him. Most people would ask about money first. "Does it matter?" "It tells me whether you're dangerous to her or to me." Marcus studies her face. She's reading him the same way Vincent does, like she's fluent in danger. "Both, probably." Elena nods. "When?" 2 weeks. Saturday. High society affair. You'd need appropriate clothes. I can clean up well." I assumed. What I can't assume is why you'd say yes. Elena takes a sip of wine. Her eyes never leave his. Maybe I have my own reasons for wanting to see how the wealthy suffer. Something in her tone suggests personal experience. Marcus files that away. "Payment? We'll discuss that later." She leans back. "First, I want to know what kind of man you are. What kind do you think I am? The kind who stops for strangers. The kind who owns restaurants but doesn't mention it. The kind who speaks softly but carries." She gestures vaguely at his tailored jacket. He knows she's noticed the shoulder holster. The kind Charlotte was smart to leave. Marcus feels something shift in his chest. Elena is dangerous in ways he doesn't understand yet. And yet you're still here. I'm harder to scare than most people. 2 days later, Elena stands in the private salon Marcus arranged. She endures 3 hours of transformation. Hair, makeup, nails. The stylist works like an artist revealing a masterpiece hidden under grime. When they're finished, Marcus almost doesn't recognize her. Elena stares at her reflection. The woman in the mirror wears a midnight blue gown that costs more than most people's cars. Her hair is styled in an elegant updo. Diamonds borrowed from Marcus's collection catch the light at her throat and ears. She looks like she belongs in his world, like she was born to it. You don't seem surprised, Marcus observes. Elena runs her fingers along the dress's silk fabric. Should I be? Most people would be overwhelmed. Most people haven't lost everything twice. She turns from the mirror. Shall we go make your ex-fiancée miserable? The drive to St. Catherine's takes 30 minutes. Elena sits in silence, watching the city change from urban grit to suburban polish. Marcus studies her profile. She hasn't asked about his business, hasn't shown fear or excessive curiosity. In his experience, people who aren't afraid of him usually have good reason for their confidence. Tell me about Charlotte, Elena says as they turn into the cathedral parking lot. What do you want to know? Why she left. Marcus parks between a Porsche and a Mercedes. The elite are here in force. She said I was too dangerous for her political aspirations. Was she right? Probably. Elena adjusts her necklace. And you loved her anyway. It's not a question. Marcus doesn't answer. Elena nods like his silence confirms everything. They walk across the parking lot. Elena's heels click against asphalt with perfect rhythm. She doesn't stumble or struggle with the designer shoes. Another mystery. Marcus offers his arm. She takes it naturally, like they've done this 100 times. One more question, Elena says as they approach the cathedral steps. What happens if this doesn't go according to plan? Marcus looks down at her. The afternoon sun catches the gold flecks in her green eyes. Plans are overrated. Elena smiles. It's the first genuine smile he's seen from her. Good. I hate being predictable. They climb the steps together. Marcus feels the weight of eyes on them. Wedding guests cluster outside the cathedral doors, smoking and gossiping. He recognizes faces from Chicago's power structure. Judges, politicians, business leaders. Some nod respectfully. Others look away quickly. Everyone knows who Marcus Romano is. Few know what to do with that knowledge. Elena notices the dynamic. Interesting friends you have. I don't have friends, I have allies and enemies. Which category do I fall into? Marcus considers this as they reach the cathedral entrance. I'm still deciding. Elena's laugh is low and musical. Fair enough. I'm still deciding about you too. They step through the cathedral doors. The interior is all marble and stained glass, designed to inspire awe and humility. Marcus feels neither. This is theater. Pageantry designed to legitimize what everyone knows is a political alliance, not a love match. Charlotte stands at the altar in white silk that costs more than most people's annual salary. Her father walks her down the aisle while Senator Pierce waits with practiced politicians' smile. The ceremony is beautiful, traditional, empty. Marcus and Elena take seats in the back, close enough to be seen, far enough to observe. Elena scans the crowd with calculating eyes. She's cataloging faces, reading relationships, mapping the power structure, another skill that doesn't match her recent circumstances. She's beautiful, Elena whispers as Charlotte reaches the altar. Yes, but not happy. Marcus looks more closely. Elena is right. Charlotte's smile is perfect, but her shoulders are rigid. Her hand trembles slightly as she takes the senator's arm. This is duty, not joy. How can you tell? Elena watches Charlotte with something like pity. I recognize the look. She's marrying for security, not love. It's a reasonable choice, but not a happy one. The priest begins the ceremony. Marcus half listens to vows that sound rehearsed rather than heartfelt. He's more interested in Elena's reactions. She watches everything with intense focus, like she's memorizing details for later use. When the priest asks if anyone objects to the union, Elena shifts in her seat. For a moment, Marcus thinks she might actually speak. She doesn't, but her small movement draws attention. Several guests turn to look at them. At her, the ceremony concludes. Charlotte and Senator Pierce kiss with polite enthusiasm. The crowd applauds. Elena claps slowly, rhythmically. Her face shows nothing but mild interest. "Ready for the reception?" Marcus asks as guests begin filing out. Elena stands and smooths her dress. "That depends. Are you ready for people to wonder who I am?" Marcus offers his arm again. "Let them wonder." They follow the crowd toward the reception hall. Marcus can feel the curiosity radiating from other guests. Elena walking beside him creates questions that have no easy answers. That's exactly what he wanted. What he didn't expect was how natural it would feel to have her there. As they reach the reception hall entrance, Charlotte appears in the receiving line. Her eyes find Marcus immediately, then shift to Elena. Her practiced smile falters for just a moment. Recognition flickers across her face, followed by confusion. Elena notices. "She knows me. Should I be worried?" Elena's green eyes glitter with something dangerous. "That depends on how much you trust me." Before Marcus can answer, they're next in line to congratulate the happy couple. Charlotte extends her hand to Marcus with practiced grace. Her wedding ring catches the light, heavy with diamonds and political promises. "Marcus, I wasn't sure you'd come. Congratulations." His voice carries no warmth. "You look beautiful." "Thank you." Charlotte's eyes shift to Elena. Recognition wars with confusion in her expression. "And you are?" Elena steps forward before Marcus can answer. "Elena Vasquez, congratulations on your wedding. You make a lovely couple." Charlotte accepts Elena's handshake, but her grip lingers. She's studying Elena's face like she's solving a puzzle. "Have we met before? You seem familiar." "I have one of those faces." Elena's smile reveals nothing. "People often think they know me." Senator Pierce intervenes with politicians' timing. "Marcus Romano, good to see you here." His handshake is firm, but brief. Smart man. He knows Marcus's reputation. "I hope we can work together in the future. I'm sure we'll find common ground." Marcus's tone suggests the opposite. They move through the receiving line toward the reception hall. Elena's heels click against marble with measured precision. She nods politely to other guests, but doesn't seek conversation. Smart. In Marcus's world, saying too little is always safer than saying too much. The reception hall sparkles with crystal and candlelight. Round tables accommodate 8 guests each, creating intimate clusters for conversation and conspiracy. Marcus recognizes the seating strategy. Charlotte's family mixed with Pierce's political allies. Old money beside new power. Elena will stand out like a diamond in sawdust. Their assigned table sits near the dance floor, close enough to be seen, far enough from the head table to send a message. Marcus isn't family anymore. He's a dangerous guest to be watched from a distance. Judge Harrison sits to Marcus's left. They've done business before, though both men would deny it under oath. Harrison's wife clutches her pearls when she recognizes Marcus. Literally. The gesture isn't lost on Elena, who watches the interaction with amusement. "Mrs. Harrison." Marcus stands as the older woman approaches their table. "You look lovely tonight." "Thank you, Mr. Romano." Her voice trembles slightly. "I wasn't expecting to see you here. Charlotte and I have history." Mrs. Harrison glances at Elena. "And this is?" "Elena Vasquez." Elena introduces herself smoothly. "I'm Marcus's guest." "How wonderful." Mrs. Harrison's smile doesn't reach her eyes. "Are you from Chicago?" "Originally from Miami." Elena's accent shifts slightly, adding Spanish influences that weren't there before. "But I've been traveling recently." The lie comes so naturally that Marcus almost believes it himself. Elena is constructing an identity in real time, feeding Mrs. Harrison exactly what she expects to hear. Foreign, exotic, temporary. Judge Harrison clears his throat. "What business are you in, Miss Vasquez?" "Consulting." Elena sips her wine. "International markets. Import-export logistics." Another lie, but one that explains her presence at Marcus's side. Import-export is code for smuggling in their circles. Everyone understands, but no one acknowledges the subtext. The dinner service begins. Elena handles each course with perfect etiquette. She knows which fork to use, how to hold her wine glass, when to speak and when to listen. Her transformation goes beyond clothes and makeup. She's adopted the mannerisms of wealth with unsettling ease. "Tell me about your business," Judge Harrison probes during the fish course. "What exactly do you import?" Elena pauses, her fork halfway to her mouth. "Specialty items, art, antiques, cultural artifacts, things that require careful handling and discreet transportation." Marcus recognizes the technique. Elena is telling the truth while lying completely. Specialty items could mean anything. Cultural artifacts might include stolen goods. Discreet transportation suggests illegal activity. She's speaking Harrison's language while revealing nothing concrete. Fascinating work, Harrison's wife interjects. Do you work with museums? Among others. Elena's smile is enigmatic. I find that the most interesting pieces rarely end up in public collections. That statement lands like a small bomb. Everyone at the table understands the implication. Elena deals in black market antiquities, stolen art, items that museums want but can't officially acquire. It's a business that requires connections, discretion, and absolute ruthlessness. Marcus realizes Elena isn't just playing a role. She's revealing pieces of her real life through careful misdirection. The question is, which pieces are true and which are performance? The band begins playing dance music. Couples move toward the dance floor in careful choreography. Charlotte and Senator Pierce perform their first dance with mechanical precision. Their bodies move together, but their hearts remain separate. Elena watches them with clinical interest. She doesn't love him. Elena whispers to Marcus. No, but love is a luxury she can't afford. What about you? Was love a luxury you couldn't afford? Marcus considers the question while watching Charlotte dance. I thought I could afford it. I was wrong. Elena nods like she understands. Love makes us vulnerable. Vulnerability is dangerous in our world. Our world. Elena has just claimed membership in Marcus's dangerous universe. The question is whether she belongs there or just knows how to fake belonging. Judge Harrison excuses himself to use the restroom. His wife follows, claiming she needs to touch up her makeup. They're clearly fleeing the table. Elena's presence makes them uncomfortable. Good. Uncomfortable people make mistakes. You're enjoying this, Marcus observes. I'm enjoying watching them squirm. Elena's green eyes glitter with satisfaction. They're so terrified of saying the wrong thing to you that they can't think straight. And you're not terrified? Should I be? Marcus studies her face. Most people show fear through micro-expressions. Tension around the eyes, tightness in the jaw, forced smiles. Elena displays none of these tells. Either she's genuinely fearless or she's been trained to hide her emotions. Most people are. I'm not most people. The band transitions to slower music. Marcus stands and offers Elena his hand. Dance? She accepts without hesitation. They move onto the dance floor among Chicago's elite. Elena follows his lead perfectly, her body responding to his guidance like they've danced together for years. Other couples give them space. Whether from respect or fear, Marcus can't tell. Everyone's watching us, Elena murmurs. Let them watch. They're trying to figure out who I am. Are you going to tell me? Elena spins under his arm with fluid grace. That depends on whether you really want to know. Why wouldn't I? Because sometimes the truth is more dangerous than the mystery. Her words carry weight that suggests personal experience. Marcus pulls her closer as the music swells. I've never been afraid of danger. No, but you've never met anyone like me. The song ends. They separate slowly, maintaining eye contact longer than socially appropriate. Several guests notice the tension between them. Marcus can feel speculation rippling through the crowd. Tomorrow, Chicago's gossip networks will buzz with theories about his mysterious companion. They return to their table as the main course arrives. Beef tenderloin with seasonal vegetables. Hotel food made elegant through presentation and price. Elena cuts her meat with surgical precision, each movement controlled and deliberate. Charlotte approaches their table during the salad course. She's shed her reception smile for something more genuine. Marcus, could I speak with you privately? Marcus glances at Elena, who nods slightly. Of course. They walk to a quiet corner near the bar. Charlotte's wedding dress rustles with each step, a sound like expensive secrets being shared. She stops where they can't be overheard but can still be seen. Smart politics. Who is she? Charlotte's question comes without preamble. Elena Vasquez. I told you. That's not what I mean, and you know it. Charlotte's composure cracks slightly. She's not some escort or social climber. She's something else entirely. Marcus signals the bartender for whiskey. What makes you so sure? The way she carries herself. The way she talks. She knows things, Marcus. Things she shouldn't know if she's just some random woman you picked up. Maybe I have good taste. Charlotte accepts a glass of champagne from the bartender. This isn't a game. If she's connected to your business, if she's dangerous, I need to know. Why? Because this is my wedding day and I won't have it ruined by whatever revenge fantasy you're playing out. Marcus takes a slow sip of whiskey. You think this is about revenge? Isn't it? He looks across the room at Elena, who's making polite conversation with the judge's wife. She's transformed again, becoming exactly what the older woman expects. Exotic but harmless. Interesting but not threatening. Her adaptability is remarkable. Disturbing. Maybe it started that way. Charlotte follows his gaze. And now? Now I'm not sure what it is. Be careful, Marcus. Charlotte's voice carries genuine concern. I know that look. You're falling for her. And if I am, then you're making the same mistake you made with me. You're confusing attraction with trust. Charlotte walks away before Marcus can respond. He finishes his whiskey and returns to the table. Elena looks up as he sits down, her green eyes searching his face for information. Everything all right? She wanted to know who you are. What did you tell her? The truth. I don't know. Elena smiles, but there's sadness behind it. Maybe it's better that way. The evening continues with speeches and toasts. Senator Pierce thanks his new in-laws and promises to serve Chicago with distinction. Charlotte's father welcomes Pierce to the family with words that sound like a business contract. Love is mentioned but not emphasized. This is a merger, not a romance. Elena applauds politely at appropriate moments. She's studying the speeches like she's taking notes for a test. When Judge Harrison raises his glass to toast the happy couple, Elena's smile turns sharp. She whispers something under her breath that Marcus doesn't catch. What did you say? Nothing important. Elena raises her own glass. To Charlotte and Bradley. May they get exactly what they deserve. Her toast sounds like a curse. The reception reaches its peak as the evening deepens. Crystal glasses clink with increasing frequency. Conversations grow louder, secrets shared more freely. Elena excuses herself to the restroom, leaving Marcus alone at the table with Judge Harrison and his increasingly nervous wife. Your companion is quite charming. Harrison ventures after his third bourbon. Very knowledgeable about international markets. Marcus nods but says nothing. He's learned that silence makes people fill gaps with revealing information. My wife was wondering about her background. We don't recognize the family name Vasquez from our usual circles. She's not from your usual circles. Harrison laughs uncomfortably. Of course, I just meant that in our business we like to know who we're dealing with. Your business is the law. Mine is more flexible. The judge's face pales slightly. He understands the distinction. Marcus owns people who interpret laws creatively. Harrison depends on their interpretations to maintain his lifestyle. Elena returns from the restroom, but something has changed. Her posture is more rigid, her smile more calculated. She slides into her chair with fluid grace, but Marcus notices her eyes scanning the room like she's looking for exits. Everything all right? Perfect. Her voice carries a slight tremor that contradicts her words. Though I think we've made enough of an impression for one evening. Marcus follows her gaze across the room. Charlotte stands near the bar, speaking intensely with a man Marcus doesn't recognize. Tall, thin, expensive suit. Government bearing. The man's eyes find Elena and hold for a moment too long. Friend of yours? Elena's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. I wouldn't say friend. The man approaches their table with measured steps. His smile is professional, practiced, dangerous. Miss Vasquez, what an unexpected pleasure. Elena doesn't stand, doesn't offer her hand. Agent Morrison, I thought you were still stationed in Miami. Agent, federal. Marcus feels the temperature drop several degrees. Elena's carefully constructed identity just developed a crack large enough to drive a truck through. Temporary reassignment. Morrison's eyes shift to Marcus. Mr. Romano, your reputation precedes you. All of it bad, I hope. Morrison's laugh sounds like breaking glass. May I sit? The table's full, Elena says before Marcus can answer. Of course. Morrison remains standing. Miss Vasquez, perhaps we could catch up later, for old time's sake. I'm busy tonight. Tomorrow then. My hotel, the Palmer House. Room 847. He places a business card next to Elena's wine glass. We have so much to discuss. Morrison walks away without waiting for a response. Elena stares at the business card like it might explode. Her fingers tremble as she picks it up, reads it, then tears it into precise pieces. DA, she says quietly. Drug Enforcement Administration. Marcus feels the pieces clicking together. Elena's knowledge of import-export. Her comfort with illegal implications. Her careful word choices about specialty items and discreet transportation. She's not just familiar with his world. She's been hunted by it. What does he want? Elena finishes her wine in one smooth motion. To destroy my life. Again. Judge Harrison and his wife have somehow vanished from the table. Smart people recognize federal complications and distance themselves quickly. Marcus and Elena sit alone in a bubble of sudden isolation. We should leave. Not yet. Elena's voice hardens. I'm not running from him tonight. Elena, if he's he's nothing. Her green eyes flash with anger. He's a failed agent with a grudge who couldn't make his cases stick. Marcus understands now why Elena wasn't afraid of him. She's been pursued by federal agencies. A mafia boss probably seems predictable compared to government hunters. What cases? Elena signals the waiter for another wine. Her hand is steady now. Resolved. 3 years ago, Morrison tried to build a case against a smuggling operation running between Miami and Colombia. High-end artifacts, artwork, cultural treasures. He needed someone on the inside. You. My family had connections in the art world. Legitimate galleries, auction houses, private collectors. Morrison thought I could provide access. And did you? Elena's smile turns bitter. I tried to stay clean. Tried to help him build cases against the real criminals. But Morrison wanted bigger fish. He wanted me to get closer to the organization's leadership. Marcus pours himself another whiskey from the bottle the waiter left. He's beginning to understand Elena's situation. How close? Close enough to gather evidence. Close enough to wear a wire. Close enough to betray people who trusted me. What happened? Elena stares across the room at Charlotte and Senator Pierce, who are posing for photographs with wedding guests. Perfect political theater. The operation figured out there was an informant. They started eliminating anyone who could have leaked information, including you. They tried. Morrison's people were supposed to protect me. Witness protection, new identity, fresh start. Instead, they abandoned me when the case fell apart. Marcus feels cold fury building in his chest. Elena was thrown away by the same government that claims to protect people like her. How many people died? 7, including my brother. Elena's voice breaks slightly on the last word. Carlos was never involved in the smuggling. He just knew the wrong people. Loved the wrong sister. The pieces fall into place with horrible clarity. Elena isn't running from the criminal world. She's running from the system that was supposed to save her from it. Morrison represents everything that destroyed her life. Why is he here now? Elena watches Morrison circulating through the reception, making small talk with political figures. Because he thinks I know something about the current operation, the one that replaced the network he destroyed. Do you? Elena meets his eyes directly. What do you think? Marcus realizes Elena didn't choose him randomly. She didn't accept his proposition out of desperation or curiosity. She selected him specifically because he represents power that operates outside government control. You're using me. We're using each other. Elena's honesty is brutal. You wanted to make your ex-fiancée jealous. I wanted protection from federal harassment, mutually beneficial arrangement. Marcus should feel angry, manipulated. Instead, he feels something closer to admiration. Elena has survived federal abandonment, criminal pursuit, and personal tragedy. She's constructed a new identity and positioned herself strategically for protection. She's playing a game that would challenge his most experienced lieutenants. What happens now? Now Morrison tries to pressure me into cooperating again. He'll threaten imprisonment, deportation, exposure. He'll promise protection he can't deliver. And you? Elena's smile returns, sharp and predatory. I disappoint him. Again. The band announces the last dance. Couples move onto the floor for final romantic moments. Charlotte and Senator Pierce dance stiffly, fulfilling social obligations rather than expressing affection. Morrison watches from the bar, his attention split between Elena and the political networking opportunities. Dance with me, Elena says suddenly. Why? Because Morrison is watching, because Charlotte is watching, because everyone in this room is trying to figure out who we are and what we want. They move onto the dance floor one final time. Elena melts into Marcus's arms like she belongs there. Her body follows his lead perfectly, but her mind is clearly calculating angles and possibilities. What do you need from me? Marcus asks as they sway to the music. Nothing you weren't already planning to give. Which is? Protection, legitimacy, the appearance of belonging in your world. Marcus spins her slowly, giving her time to think. In exchange for? Anything you want. Elena's answer is direct, honest, dangerous. Anything? I've lost everything twice, Marcus. I'm not afraid of losing it again. That makes me useful in ways you haven't considered yet. The song ends. They separate slowly, maintaining the illusion of romantic connection while negotiating a business arrangement. Morrison approaches as they leave the dance floor. Lovely evening, he says to Elena. I hope we can continue our conversation soon. I'm sure we will. Morrison's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Mr. Romano, I hope you understand what you're getting involved with. Marcus steps closer to Morrison. Not threatening, just present. I understand more than you think. Do you? Because Miss Vasquez has a talent for attracting the wrong kind of attention. Then she'll fit right in. Morrison's laugh is sharp. We'll see. He walks away, but his presence lingers like smoke. Elena watches him leave with the focused attention of a predator tracking prey. He'll make his move tomorrow, she says quietly. Let him. Marcus, you don't understand. Morrison doesn't play by rules. He destroys people for sport. Marcus takes Elena's hand, feeling the slight tremor in her fingers. So do I. They walk toward the exit together. Behind them, Charlotte's wedding reception continues its choreographed celebration. Ahead, complications multiply like shadows in candlelight. But Marcus feels something he hasn't experienced in years. Purpose that goes beyond revenge or power. Elena needs protection that only he can provide, and she offers something equally valuable in return. Partnership with someone who understands that survival requires ruthlessness. As they reach the cathedral doors, Elena squeezes his hand gently. Thank you. For what? For not asking questions I'm not ready to answer. Marcus helps her into the Bentley, then circles to the driver's side. Chicago's skyline glitters with promise and threat. Tomorrow brings new challenges. Tonight belongs to them. Have you ever wondered what happens when two people who've lost everything find each other in the darkness? Sometimes the most dangerous alliances are born from mutual desperation. Sometimes protection comes from the most unexpected sources. What would you do if faced with Elena's choice? Trust a dangerous man for protection, or face federal persecution alone? Share your thoughts below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that explore the gray areas where justice and survival collide. The Bentley cuts through Chicago's midnight streets like a knife through silk. Elena sits in passenger silence, her green eyes reflecting neon signs and streetlights. Marcus drives without destination, letting the city's rhythm calm his thoughts. The evening's revelations replay in his mind like fragments of a puzzle still missing crucial pieces. Where are we going? Elena finally asks. Somewhere safe. Your definition of safe might differ from mine. Marcus glances at her profile. Even in the car's dim interior, she looks like she belongs in designer clothes and luxury vehicles. The transformation from homeless woman to high society companion seems too complete, too effortless. What's your definition? Somewhere Morrison can't find me tonight. Marcus makes a decision and turns toward Lakeshore Drive. His penthouse apartment overlooks the lake from 40 stories up. Security cameras, armed guards, bulletproof glass. Safer than most government facilities. What about tomorrow? Elena's reflection in the window shifts as she turns to study him. Tomorrow I deal with whatever Morrison thinks he knows. Which is? Enough to make my life complicated. Not enough to make his case. They drive through Lincoln Park in comfortable silence. Street lamps cast moving shadows through the car's interior. Elena's hands rest motionless in her lap, but Marcus notices her eyes constantly scanning mirrors and side streets. Professional paranoia. Survival instincts honed by experience. Tell me about your brother. Elena's posture stiffens slightly. Why? Because someone killed him for knowing you. That makes it my business now. Your business. You're under my protection. That makes your enemies my enemies. Elena turns to face him fully. Is that how this works in your world? Protection comes with automatic revenge? Usually. They reach the penthouse building. Marcus parks in his private garage, using a key card that activates multiple security layers. Elena observes the process with professional interest. She's cataloging escape routes and security weaknesses. Smart. The elevator ride to the 40th floor takes 90 seconds. Elena studies her reflection in the polished steel doors, adjusting her posture and expression. She's preparing for something. Another performance. Marcus's penthouse spans half the building's top floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows offer panoramic views of Lake Michigan and Chicago's skyline. Modern furniture arranged for form and function. Art carefully chosen to project power and taste. Elena walks through the space like she's appraising its value. Nice place. It serves its purpose. Elena stops at the windows overlooking the lake. City lights reflect on dark water like scattered diamonds. Carlos would have loved this view. He always wanted to see the world from high places. What was he like? Smart, funny, completely innocent of everything that destroyed him. Elena's voice carries grief that sounds fresh despite 3 years of practice. He studied architecture at University of Miami, wanted to design buildings that would outlast centuries. Marcus pours 2 glasses of whiskey from a crystal decanter. Real Irish whiskey, aged 25 years. He offers one to Elena, who accepts it gratefully. How did Morrison's operation get him killed? Elena takes a small sip before answering. Carlos knew I was working with federal agents. Not the details, just that I was helping law enforcement with something dangerous. When the smuggling network started hunting for informants, they targeted anyone connected to suspected sources, including family members. Especially family members. Elena's reflection in the window looks haunted. They killed him to send a message, to punish me for cooperating. Marcus feels familiar anger building. He's ordered similar executions himself, but always against people directly involved in business disputes. Never against innocents, never against family members who posed no threat. Where were Morrison's people when this happened? Protecting their operation, not their asset. Elena's bitterness cuts through the whiskey's warmth. I called Morrison when Carlos disappeared. He told me to stay in character, to maintain my cover until they could extract me safely. How long did you wait? 3 days. They found Carlos on the 4th day. Elena finishes her whiskey in one burning gulp. Shot twice in the head. Professional execution. Clean message. Marcus refills her glass without being asked. He understands the mathematics of grief now. Elena's cooperation with federal agents cost her brother's life. Her attempt to seek justice resulted in more injustice. The system she trusted betrayed everyone she loved. What happened to Morrison's case? Collapsed completely. Without my testimony, they had no inside evidence. The network scattered, rebuilt elsewhere, resumed operations under new leadership. And you? Elena walks to another window, this one facing downtown Chicago. The towers rise like concrete monuments to ambition and corruption. I disappeared. New identity, new city, new life. Lasted about 18 months before Morrison tracked me down. In Miami? In Seattle. I was working as a gallery consultant helping museums acquire legitimate pieces. Quiet life, legal work, no complications. Elena's laugh is hollow. Morrison showed up claiming the network was active again. Wanted me to infiltrate the new organization. Marcus joins her at the window. Chicago's midnight energy pulses below them like a living organism. You refused. I ran. Liquidated everything. Disappeared again. Been moving every few months since then. Until you ended up on my street corner. Elena nods. Chicago wasn't supposed to be permanent. Just another temporary stop until I figured out my next move. And then I offered you a different option. You offered me protection I couldn't get anywhere else. Elena turns to face him directly. Morrison can't touch me when I'm connected to your organization. Federal agencies move carefully around established crime families. Too much political risk. Marcus understands the calculation. Elena traded one form of danger for another, but chose the devil she could potentially control over the one actively hunting her. What does Morrison want now? The same thing he's always wanted. Information about high-level smuggling operations, names, locations, financial networks. Information you don't have. Elena's smile is sharp. Information I'll never have again. Marcus's phone vibrates with an encrypted message. Vincent's security team reporting unusual federal activity downtown. Morrison isn't waiting until tomorrow to make his move. He's mobilizing tonight. Elena reads the message over Marcus's shoulder. 3 vehicles. Federal plates. They're setting up surveillance on my hotel. You're not going back there. I know. Elena seems unsurprised by the development. Morrison always pushes too hard too fast. It's why his cases fall apart. Marcus forwards the message to Vincent with instructions to monitor but not engage. Federal surveillance requires delicate handling. Direct confrontation creates more problems than it solves. What's his endgame? Elena walks to the living room and settles onto the leather couch. She removes her high heels with relief. tucking her feet underneath her. The gesture makes her look younger, more vulnerable. Morrison thinks the current smuggling network is bigger than the original operation. More sophisticated, better connected, higher-level political protection. Is he right? Probably. These organizations evolve, learn from past mistakes, build better security systems. Marcus sits across from her, studying her face for tells. Elena has survived by reading people accurately. Her assessment of current criminal operations would be valuable even if she's not directly involved. But you're not part of it. I'm not part of anything except survival. Elena meets his eyes steadily. Morrison can't accept that his investigation destroyed my ability to access that world. He thinks I'm hiding connections that don't exist anymore. Marcus's phone rings. Vincent's name appears on the screen. He answers on speaker so Elena can hear. Boss, we have a problem. Federal agents just raided the hotel. They're searching Miss Vasquez's room. Elena doesn't look surprised. What did they find? Nothing useful, Vincent reports. Clothes you left behind. Basic toiletries. No documents, no electronic devices, no evidence of ongoing criminal activity. Because there isn't any, Elena says quietly. Marcus ends the call and studies Elena's composed expression. She's either telling the truth about her current innocence, or she's skilled enough to fool everyone, including federal agents. Morrison will escalate. Yes. How far will he go? Elena considers the question seriously. As far as necessary to justify 3 years of failure. Morrison's career depends on building a case that validates his original investigation. If he can't prove I'm connected to current operations, he'll try to prove I was more involved in past operations than I admitted. Can he do that? He can try. Dead witnesses can't contradict new theories. Marcus feels the implications settling like ice in his chest. Elena isn't just running from harassment or legal pressure. She's running from an agent willing to construct false evidence to save his career. You need more than protection. You need Morrison neutralized. Elena's green eyes sharpen with interest. What does that mean in your world? Different things. Depends on the threat level. And if the threat level is existential? Marcus stands and walks to his safe, hidden behind a Picasso original. The combination takes 30 seconds to enter. Inside, documents and cash share space with tools of his trade. He removes a manila folder and returns to the couch. Morrison's personal file. Finances, family, career history, weaknesses. Elena opens the folder and begins reading. Her expression shifts from curiosity to understanding, to something harder to define. How did you get this? I have people who specialize in information acquisition. Elena continues reading, her face growing more thoughtful with each page. This changes things. How? She looks up from the file, her green eyes glittering with something that might be hope or might be vengeance. Morrison has more to lose than I do. Dawn breaks over Chicago with the promise of reckoning. Elena sits at Marcus's kitchen table. Morrison's file spread before her like battle plans. She's changed into clothes Marcus provided. Black jeans, dark sweater, boots suitable for running or fighting. The elegant woman from last night has been replaced by someone harder, more focused. His daughter attends Northwestern University, Elena says without looking up from the documents. Pre-med student, scholarship recipient, clean record. Marcus pours coffee into 2 mugs, adding cream to Elena's without asking. He's noticed her preferences. Morrison has vulnerabilities. Everyone does. Elena accepts the coffee gratefully. The question is which ones we're willing to exploit. Meaning? Elena closes the file and meets his eyes directly. Morrison destroyed my family to build his career. How far are you willing to go to protect yours? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Marcus has built his empire on calculated violence, but Elena is asking him to consider warfare against federal agents. The consequences could reach beyond personal vengeance into organizational survival. What do you have in mind? Elena stands and walks to the windows overlooking Lake Michigan. Morning light transforms the water from black to silver. Morrison thinks he can pressure me because I have nowhere to run. But pressure works both ways. Explain. Morrison's been chasing ghost cases for 3 years. His supervisors are losing patience. His funding is being questioned. His methods are under review. Elena turns back to Marcus. One more failed operation could end his career permanently. Marcus joins her at the window. You want to give him a case that destroys him. I want to give him exactly what he expects to find. Evidence of a smuggling operation so sophisticated, so well connected, that pursuing it becomes career suicide. Fake evidence. Elena's smile is sharp as winter wind. Not fake. Real operations, real crimes, real evidence. Just not connected to me. Marcus understands immediately. Elena wants to redirect Morrison's investigation toward legitimate criminal activity that will consume resources while yielding no prosecutable results. Political connections will shut down the investigation before it threatens the wrong people. You know about active operations. I know about everything, Marcus. 3 years of hiding taught me to watch, listen, and remember. Information is survival. Marcus's phone vibrates with another message from Vincent. Morrison's federal team has expanded overnight. 12 agents now, plus technical support. They're preparing for major action. He's moving faster than expected. Elena reads the message without invitation. Morrison always overcommits when he smells weakness. It's his fatal flaw. What weakness does he smell? Last night's wedding created complications he didn't anticipate. Charlotte's marriage to Senator Pierce gives Morrison political pressure from above. If his investigation embarrasses the wrong people, his career ends immediately. Marcus realizes Elena has been playing a deeper game than he understood. Her appearance at Charlotte's wedding wasn't just about his revenge or her protection. She orchestrated visibility that would force Morrison into desperate action. You planned this. I planned survival. Everything else is improvisation. Marcus's respect for Elena increases with each revelation. She's not just running from her past. She's weaponizing it against her pursuers. What do you need from me? Elena walks to the kitchen table and begins organizing Morrison's file into specific categories. Financial records, career timeline, family information, operational history. She's building a strategy in real time. Access to your legitimate business operations, the ones that interface with international commerce. Why? Because Morrison needs to find evidence of sophisticated smuggling networks. Your import businesses, art galleries, and consulting firms provide perfect cover for the kind of operation he's hunting. Marcus feels cold realization settling. You want to frame my organization. I want to frame someone's organization. Yours provides the most convincing evidence because it's already partially true. The honesty is brutal and refreshing. Elena isn't pretending innocence or asking for charity. She's proposing a mutually beneficial arrangement that protects them both while destroying their common enemy. What happens to my people? Nothing. The evidence will be sophisticated enough to attract investigation, but incomplete enough to prevent prosecution. Morrison will spend months chasing leads that go nowhere while his superiors lose patience with the resource expenditure. Marcus considers the proposal while watching Elena work. She's constructing a plan that turns Morrison's strengths against him. His aggression becomes recklessness. His persistence becomes obsession. His need for a career-defining case becomes the mechanism of his destruction. Timeline? Morrison will make contact today. Probably within the next few hours. He'll demand cooperation, threaten consequences, offer protection he can't deliver. And you'll give him what he wants. Elena's green eyes glitter with anticipation. I'll give him enough to hang himself. Marcus's phone rings. Vincent's name again. He answers on speaker. Boss, Morrison's team is moving. 3 vehicles heading toward your building. Elena checks her watch. Right on schedule. Should we engage? Vincent asks. No, Marcus responds. Let them come. Miss Vasquez has business to discuss with Agent Morrison. Elena stands and smooths her sweater. He'll try to separate us. Interview me alone, away from your influence. Will you go? Yes, but not quietly. Marcus ends the call and studies Elena's composed expression. She's about to walk into federal custody voluntarily, trusting his protection and her own intelligence to survive whatever Morrison attempts. What if something goes wrong? Elena walks to him and places her hand against his chest. Then you'll know I tried to protect what matters. The gesture is intimate without being romantic, professional without being cold. Elena has found the exact balance between vulnerability and strength that makes her impossible to categorize or dismiss. What matters? People who keep their promises. People who understand that survival sometimes requires uncomfortable alliances. Marcus covers her hand with his. People like us. People exactly like us. The building security system announces visitors in the lobby. Morrison and his team, requesting access for official business. Elena checks her appearance in the hallway mirror one final time, then nods to Marcus. Showtime. They descend to the lobby together. Morrison waits with 3 other agents, all wearing the same government-issued confidence and expensive suits. Hotel guests and staff give them wide berth, recognizing federal authority even without identification. Ms. Vasquez. Morrison's smile is sharp. Thank you for making this easy. Agent Morrison. Still chasing ghosts, I see. We prefer to call them leads. Active, credible leads. Elena steps forward, leaving Marcus's protective proximity. Then let's discuss them. Professionally. Morrison's eyes shift to Marcus. Mr. Romano, this is federal business. Your presence isn't required. Marcus doesn't move. Miss Vasquez is my guest. Her welfare is my business. Her welfare depends on cooperation with ongoing investigations. My cooperation, Elena interjects, depends on reasonable requests and legal procedures. Morrison produces a folded document from his jacket. This warrant gives us authority to question you regarding violations of federal smuggling statutes. Elena takes the warrant and reads it carefully. Marcus watches her face for reactions, but she remains composed. Professional. When she finishes reading, she folds the document and returns it to Morrison. Where would you like to conduct this interview? Federal building. Downtown. Official setting for official business. Elena nods. I'll need my attorney present. Of course, though cooperation might be easier without legal complications. Elena's laugh is genuine. Agent Morrison. Legal complications are the only thing standing between you and another career-ending mistake. Morrison's composure cracks slightly. Miss Vasquez, you're not in a position to negotiate. Aren't I? Elena looks around the lobby, noting the witnesses, the security cameras, the public setting. I'm cooperating voluntarily with a federal investigation. My attorney will ensure that cooperation is properly documented and legally protected. Marcus feels pride mixed with concern. Elena is managing Morrison expertly, but federal agents have resources beyond legal procedures. If Morrison becomes desperate enough, legality becomes secondary to results. I'll follow in my car, Marcus announces. Morrison shakes his head. This is a federal interview, not a social gathering. Mr. Romano has legitimate business interests that might be relevant to your investigation, Elena says smoothly. His presence could be beneficial. Morrison considers this, weighing political risks against investigative advantages. Elena has just offered him access to Marcus's organization while maintaining her own protection. Fine, but this is official business conducted under federal authority. Understood. They leave the building together, but travel separately. Elena rides with Morrison's team while Marcus follows in the Bentley. The convoy moves through Chicago traffic toward downtown federal offices where careers are made and destroyed with equal efficiency. Marcus calls Vincent during the drive. Full surveillance on the federal building. I want to know everyone who goes in and out. Already in place, boss. What if they try to hold her? Marcus watches Morrison's vehicle 3 cars ahead. Then we remind them that federal authority has limits in Chicago. The federal building rises like a concrete monument to governmental power. Elena disappears inside with Morrison's team, leaving Marcus to wait and worry and plan for complications that multiply with each passing hour. Inside those sterile walls, Elena will either destroy Morrison's career or sacrifice her own freedom in the attempt. Either way, Chicago's balance of power is about to shift in ways that will echo far beyond personal vengeance. Marcus parks across the street and settles in to wait. Some battles are fought with violence, others with intelligence and patience. Today belongs to Elena's kind of warfare. This is what happens when survival meets desperation in the shadows between justice and revenge. Sometimes the most dangerous person in the room isn't the one with the gun. It's the one with nothing left to lose and everything to prove. Thank you for staying with us through this intense journey into Chicago's darkest corners. If you found yourself holding your breath during Elena's confrontation with Morrison, you're not alone. The gray areas between law and justice, protection and manipulation, survival and revenge, these are the spaces where real human drama unfolds. What would you have done in Elena's position? Sometimes we have to choose between perfect justice and practical survival. Hit subscribe to join our community of readers who appreciate stories that don't offer easy answers, only honest questions about what we're willing to do when everything is on the line.